Thank you all so much. 40 some odd people who have joined us today. That is fantastic. That makes me so happy to see all y'all. Welcome to the final push. Welcome to the final weekend. Welcome to the effort that it takes to win this campaign this upcoming Tuesday. We're almost there, y'all. We are mercifully almost there. We have worked so hard to not only keep our Democratic trifectas in Virginia, but at the same time, make sure that we keep our House of Delegates majority blue. Why is that important? I want to break down a few reasons for y'all, and then I'm going to tell y'all a couple stories here, I think. So, and thank you all for all of you who have donated, and for all of you who have volunteered, and all y'all who have helped in any way, shape, or form in my 2017, 2019 campaigns. It's great to have you all back on board. And to all y'all who are doing this for our first time, welcome to the party. This is the fun. I get to be the fun candidate, so that's something different for y'all. But let me just tell you some of the policy changes that we've actually had since that 2017 election. In 2017, all of us campaigned, and I do mean every Democrat, we all campaigned on expanding Medicaid. And because we did that on May 30th, 2018, 1 year after the House Republicans had voted on a pure party line vote to deny expanding Medicaid, because of our vote, because of the work that you put in to help us flip seats in 2017, we got it done. And because we got it done, we have now enrolled more than 593,000 Virginians, more than 593,000 Virginians in Medicaid expansion. That's how many people now have quality, affordable health care and who were not left uninsured during a worldwide pandemic. That's a BFD and Joe Biden speak, y'all. That's a really, really BFD and Joe Biden speak. Also, it's nice to see my constituent Rima Visling. Hello, Rima, from right down the street from me, which is so nice, obviously. So that's obviously life-changing and life-saving for so many people, including my constituent Kara, who's an amputee on her dominant right arm. And within a month of enrollment, she had life-saving surgery to have a stent put in. That's huge. And when we actually achieve democratic policy initiatives, we save lives. It's just that's just literally a statement of fact. And because of the work that we did, we've now raised teacher pay by 5% 2 budget cycles in a row, and we're going to keep on doing it. And with Governor McAuliffe back in the governorship, we are going to have someone who's going to commit to making sure that we actually get that over the national average, which would be really terrific for us. As we've been doing it, we've now passed 23 of my bills into law, including 8 to feed hungry kids. And because of the work that we've done to do this, we also took our fight directly to the federal government, and we led on the advocacy, and we got universal free school breakfast and free school lunch for all students all across the country this entire school year. And that includes wherever you are right now. Yes, the public school students in your area have free school meals too, and we led on that charge in Virginia. I'm very, very proud that we did, and I want to see it keep going. But in the meantime, we have prevented school meal debt from actually happening. We've prevented school meal debt shaming, which is a terrible practice in the first place. And because we passed my bill HB 2135 this year, we also require all eligible schools to participate in the federal after-school meals program, which now means that we are providing, a third meal. We're providing supper for kids in an additional 600 some odd schools across the Commonwealth. That is tens of thousands of children who we know will not go home hungry. That's a big deal. That is a very, very big deal. And as we've been doing this, we've made Virginia go from being one of the most hostile states in the country for LGBTQ equality, my county especially being one of the most hostile, to now being a nationwide leader in LGBTQ equality. For the last 2 years in Richmond, it's been an all-you-can-get buffet, y'all. We have passed about 24 pro-LGBTQ equality bills in Virginia, including the landmark Virginia Values Act, first state in the South to actually have comprehensive, with teeth enforcement, non-discrimination policies that are actually inclusive of gender identity and sexual orientation. And we've passed 3 of my LGBTQ equality bills, including one bill to make Virginia the 12th state in the country to ban the LGBTQ panic defense, which is a big deal. And within 2 months of that being signed, after a grisly murder in Blacksburg, the defendant's attorney tried to invoke that to reporters. And we told them, no, you will not be able to do that in court. And that's very, very, very much because we passed that bill this year. We will not, we will seek justice in that case. And, we also passed my bill to prohibit the sort of discrimination that happened to me in 2014 when my health insurer denied me transition-related health care. Not anymore. And actually, because of my bill that we passed to prohibit that discrimination, there was a trans guy in Roanoke who got his top surgery done right afterward. And that's the sort of thing, and he got Medicaid to cover it. And that's the sort of thing where that's life-changing. It's a quality of life issue for someone. This is a big deal. LGBTQ healthcare is healthcare, period. Next on this, voting rights. What we're actually doing right now, the reason that we even have in-person early voting without an excuse for 46 days, that's because we passed HB 1 last year as our top priority. And because of that, early voting in Virginia has skyrocketed compared to the 2017 campaign by hundreds of thousands of voters. It turns out when you make voting more accessible to more people, they actually use it. Why did this have to pass on party line votes? Well, because one party supports making it easier for people to vote and one wants to make it harder for people to vote. That's all. That's the reason. It doesn't take a lot more than that. And you know what Tuesday is, by the way? Tuesday isn't only election day, it's a state holiday. Why? Because we passed the bill to make election day a state holiday in Virginia. And how did we do it? Because we subbed out Lee Jackson Day. We subbed out a Confederate frickin' holiday that we're no longer celebrating in Virginia. Only took this long for us to instead take the day off for election day to make sure everyone can go vote. And that was one of the more than dozen voting rights bills that we actually passed in the last 2 years. That's a huge, huge deal. And by the way, on the Constitution next year, the constitutional amendment, as long as we keep our Democratic majority, we're going to have a constitutional amendment that will go to the voters to call for automatic restoration of voting rights, which would be a very, very big deal in a state that has been wildly punitive about this. This is a racial justice issue as much as the criminal justice issue, because people of color are highly, highly more likely to be incarcerated for the exact same crimes committed by people who are not people of color in the first place. And because of that, their voting rights are often much more restricted than people who look like me, quite frankly. And because of this, when we get this done, we are going to ensure that when you've done your time, you can be reintegrated as a full citizen, period. So just to put a little cap on this, campaigns are about contrast. That is what they are, up and down in their most inherent sense. My challenger in this race wants to kick all undocumented kids out of K through 12 schools as well as colleges. And he actually answered this on a questionnaire. He said, I don't think any illegal alien, which he says about children, should be allowed to attend Virginia schools. Or he said, I'm not so sure any illegal alien should be allowed to attend Virginia schools, primary, secondary, or higher education. One, that's been unconstitutional since 1982 because of Plyer versus Doe. Number two, that's terrible. And in a wildly diverse district like this one, that is a losing message politically, as well as terrible policy. What have we done instead? Well, after I met with my student constituents in 2017, and 4 of them in one day asking what was my stance on DACA or the undocumented, and I told one 8th grade boy when he asked me that, to you, my answer is, well, what's my stance is welcome. I'm glad you're here because I don't know how you got here. I don't know what your backstory is. Don't know how you came here. What I do know is that you are here. What I do know is you're a part of my community. And that means I want you to be able to afford to go to college. I want you to be able to go into the workforce. I want you to be able to afford to have a home here, to have a family here, and to call this community your own. And since we've been in the majority, what did we do? We passed Virginia's version of the DREAM Act so that that very student could afford to go to college in the first place. We passed driver privileges cards to make sure that my constituents can actually go to work, go to school, go to store, go to entertainment, whatever it is that's important to them, they can go and do it. And the last thing I want to tell you here is that when we win elections, we inspire people across the country as well as across the Commonwealth. And in 2017, when I declared my candidacy that January, there was a couple news stories that came out that first day. One of them made its way a couple 100 miles southwest into Roanoke. And over there was a mom, her name is Mara, and she saw this story about my candidacy as an out trans woman running for office in Northern Virginia. And she goes, there's hope in this. And the reason she said that is because her 10-year-old trans daughter had tried to jump out of a second floor window earlier that past year because she didn't think that anyone could ever understand her, anyone could ever feel like she feels and know and understand what it's like to be her. She had been beaten up by 3 kids in school the day that she started presenting as the girl who she is at school. She was tormented, bullied, you name it, and life was not going well. And so Mara printed out this story and she handed it to her daughter. And her daughter Clara, she read it once, she read it a second time, she read it a third time, and she looks up at her mom and she goes, "She's just like me." And her mom goes, "Yeah, she's just like you." And she goes, "How does she do it? How does she put herself out there?" And her mom says, "Because Danica knows who she is. She knows what she wants to do." She goes, "Well, if Danica can do it, so can I." And she came up and she volunteered for me in the primary. She came up, we took photos together for my mail pieces and everything. We won the primary, even when we were outspent, outmailed, everything else. We were never out hustled. She came back and the family came back for the general election, knocked doors with us, staffed the polls on election day. And that election night in 2017, 19 out of 20 precincts had reported. We were just waiting on absentees from Prince William County. And I look at my phone and I see no name. And I'm like, oh, that's one of those calls. Okay. And I answer it. And the voice on the other end says, "Hi, Joe Biden would like to speak to you. Would you like to speak to the vice president?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." And so they put me on the phone and there's Diamond Joe congratulating me and telling me that I won. That's how I found out that I won my campaign. And I walked back into the main hall that I was in and I said, hey, Joe Biden just called me. We won. And the place blew up and a photo of me going like this went around the world and everything. Well, after that, when I was still there, I had plastic bags over my feet because it had been raining all day and I couldn't afford boots because when I was campaigning in 2017, I was unemployed, uninsured, driving a $324 92 Dodge Shadow that bid it that February, by the way. And then the $1,500 98 Toyota Camry bid it right after that. But anyway, so, I was soaked and I get this phone call and I was very excited. And then I drove across the county to go to where the other main party was. And after I get out of my car, the first person I see is Clara, the little 10-year-old girl. And I pick her up and I look her right in the eye. I say, "Clara, honey, you can be president. You can be whatever you want to be because we just won tonight." And right after that, she said that she turned her motto into, "If Danica can do it, so can I." She's been so civically engaged ever since. She's written and spoken in front of her Congressional District Democratic Committee, and she's in high school now, and she's going to be her best self. And she knows the world is open to her because of who she is, not despite it, and not for what discriminatory politicians tell her she's supposed to be. As I always say, you go and be you better than anyone else ever could, because you're the only one who can. And that's the message I need you all to bring to my voters tonight. That's the message I need you all to celebrate. Because as we're doing the very real work of taking care of my constituents, like there's actually work happening right now to finally fix Strat 28. The fact that we are actually taking care of teachers, the fact that we are, actually expanded healthcare. All these are very good things. And as we're doing it, not but and, we are doing the actual work of making Virginia a more inclusive Commonwealth. So no matter what you look like, where you come from, how you worship if you do, or who you love, you are welcomed, celebrated, respected, and protected here because of who you are, never despite it. So thank you all so much. Let's go win and let's get it done tonight. And my only ask is if everyone could just wave, because I'm going to take a screenshot here and we're going to put this on my social media pages. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you all so much. I am so grateful to our Stonewall Dems, Grassroots HQ, and everyone for your support. I'm so excited to win this campaign with you. Thank you.